Hey there, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the Energize Your Online Business podcast. Hey there, Kate.
Hello, hello.
Hello. Okay, guys, this is going to be a particularly fun one with, I was going to say instant results, certainly not instant results, but potentially big results that can happen really as quickly as you can get traffic to a page. And that page specifically is your sales page. And as such, the topic today is 5 tasks that you can run that could have potentially really, really huge results on your sales.
Yes. And before we dig into what those 5 tests are, as always, we'd be remiss without saying, make sure you have enough data to make the decision on this A/B test. If you have 5 people that have gone through the A/B test, and even if all 5 purchased via one and not the other, 5 people still not enough to make an informed decision. Because as you see, the more testing you do, the longer things run, the closer those numbers get together. So we always recommend having at least 100 people go through, and quite frankly, on a sales page, potentially 100 conversions, because you might have 100 people hit that page and a handful actually purchase. So give it some time. I would say 100 conversions, definitely enough data. If you start seeing, if you've had 75 people and no one purchased on the other one, okay, maybe you can make the call on that test. But as always, make informed decisions with these numbers.
Yes, exactly. And also, too, this is all predicated on you have done your market research. You understand who your target audience is. You are speaking to them in the words that they need to hear. You have your messages dialed in. That is already. You have already done that, and then after that, you are ready to run these tests. So let's dig into the tests. Without further ado, let's dig into the tests. The first one I think is maybe the one that people think about testing. Maybe that's a supposition that isn't fair, but that I think people think about testing first, and that's the headline on your sales page. What is that main message that you are telling people? Because that is the number one thing that people will read when they land on your sales page. They're going to read your headline. Then they're going to do a whole bunch of scrolling, and you can look at that through eye testing software. But the headline is going to be the first thing that they read.
And think about it. If they read nothing else on the page, what do you want them to read? What is the one message you want them to read? And obviously, many people will read more on the page, but knowing that that is literally the one piece of copy that you can anticipate most people will read, it's obviously the most important. The other thing that's worth trying with this is headlines, and something we've been doing is rhyming that headline, because as psychology proves, rhymes stick in people's minds.
Exactly. I wish we'd taken some time to figure out how to rhyme that first. It's close.
I know.
Rhymes stick in your mimes. That doesn't work.
I know. And they build trust too, I believe, is the science behind that people somehow trust things that rhyme more than things that don't rhyme, which is very interesting.
And it is very interesting, a little frightening the way our brains actually work.
Yes.
But rhyming and alliteration and other things like that. It's all.
Yeah, watch the news. It's all alliterated headlines. If you watch, like, fierce fire flames go through the house, there's a lot of alliteration on the news. Fascinating.
There is. So certainly you can test out questions, you can test out statements, you can test out. What we would recommend is at least within this mix having at least a headline or many headlines that focus on the transformation. Yes. What are they going to get out of what it is that they're purchasing? Because remembering, of course, that yes, we are wonderful people, but our potential customers care about themselves first and foremost, and they're going to purchase from you. They need to know what they are going to get out of it. And so really focusing your headline on that. And of course, like we talked about all those different iterations, but really focusing your headline on that is if not going to always be the winner, let's just at least say it's a good place to start as you are testing.
And if you're like, well, there are multiple transformations that people are going to go through, hone in, test them, of course, but hone in on what is the biggest transformation. Because what you think might be the transformation that people get, maybe your customers actually think it's something slightly different or greater, or they word it slightly different than you might word it. So always pull from what your customers are actually saying in the language that they're actually using, because we get too close to what we offer, and we need to listen to what our customers are saying.
Yeah, we sell them on what they want, not what we want them to want. Absolutely. I agree.
Test number 2. Video message testing, having a video message with the key points in your offer, and talking about that transformation. And quite frankly, you can test video in a lot of different ways, but you could tour your product if it's not intuitive what they'll actually get. We do that actually for one of our products because our audience is like, well, what does this online product actually look like? And so giving people a sense.
Which is especially interesting because actually psychology has shown that mirror neurons in our brains, obviously they're in our brains, they're neurons, respond well to being shown how to do something and what happens when they will do something, which is part of why having video walkthroughs is so effective. Or when in at the end of YouTube ads, when you show the cursor go to like click the button, it's when you demonstrate it like that, the mirror neurons it primes the mirror neurons to take that action themselves.
More
Interesting, right?
fascinating things about our brains.
Mm.
Yeah. And people just like consuming video too, sometimes more than reading. It gives more people ways to digest the information that's on your page, and potentially in a quicker, faster way. Some people might be able visual and auditory learners versus reading. The message might stick with them more. It's worth testing, and worth testing maybe a couple of different versions of that video of what messaging you're putting in there. Of course, you don't want it to be a 20-minute long video that people aren't going to read or watch. Say, we're just trying to get people to get the information that they need in whatever way is easiest for them to consume.
Exactly. And then kind of three goes into or number three goes into that same idea of, well, kind of the same idea, but adding testimonials to your page. You can also vary where you should have testimonials, certainly, but vary the placement of the testimonials, vary the types of testimonials. Some you might want to try screenshots if people have sent you in emails or posted in Facebook or things along those lines. And again, as Kate was saying about videos, test using video testimonials. You can test each one of these individually. Then you can also test running them together to see if that makes an impact. And then again, as we said, testing the placement. Do you want to have them near the top to encourage people to keep going? Like, oh, this is the headline. I'm interested in that. Oh, and look, here's a win that somebody's had. I'm even more interested. Do you also want to have it as you describe what's in it? Do you want to have a testimonial about you near the section where you talk about who you are? Do you want another testimonial near the pricing page talking about what an incredible, or the pricing section talking about what an incredible value? All of these are options that you can test, which again, we've talked about in previous episodes about testing. You do not want to test this all at the same time. You need to test each one individually, because if you test them all at the same time, you're not going to have any idea what made the difference, and whether you're not going to have an idea what made the difference positively or negatively. If you make a big change on a whole bunch of different things and your conversion tank, you're not even going to know what to remove. You're going to go back and remove everything and to go back to square one.
Yeah. And that insight is obviously helpful to know. Oh, okay. The testimonials the video testimonials in particular, really changed the conversion rate on the sales page. Maybe I need to get video testimonials in more places before they hit the sales page. Does that impact things for me prior to them getting on the sales page, or have an even bigger impact for once people actually land there and hear that message maybe again, or from someone else, from another student in your course or program? And the other thing too to think about is people's faces too. I think sometimes there are pull quotes, and I think it's very easy for people right now to be jaded and say, well, of course, you could write a quote from anyone and say that's a testimonial, which is why Nikki mentioned screen grabs. But sometimes even just putting a photo, if all you have is a written testimony and you don't have a screen grab of it, ask the person if you can use if you don't have their headshot, get it from them, and use a face with that quote.
Yeah, make sure you have their permission to use it. Certainly, but yeah, I agree. It can be very powerful, and it feels that much more real to see someone's face with it. On top of the fact that people our eyes naturally gravitate toward faces. So faces and numbers and a few other things, but if you really, really want to catch people's attention and pull them down to look at your testimonials, faces are a great way to do that.
Test number 4 it's a sales page test, I suppose, but it's more thinking through how people are getting to that sales page. How many extra clicks do they have to take to get to the checkout page, I should say. So testing whether having a sales page that then clicks through to just a very simple checkout cart page, or having that form directly on that sales page so that they don't have to click through anything and they can just fill out their information right there.
And that seems like something it would be easy to predict. Like, oh, no, if you
Mhm.
have it on the page, it's going to perform so much better. Not necessarily. Everybody's audience is different. This is a good example of where you don't want to make an assumption. And even, when people say, everybody does this and this is how it's supposed to be done, everybody's audience is different. And also their experiences are different. Their wants and their needs are different. It's so, so important to test. And if you're thinking, I don't know if I can test that, we use a software called Samcart that allows us to test these things. We can either have a separate sales page that clicks through to a checkout page, the cart page, or we can embed the cart page. We can also, I think, there's a new slide out
Yep.
feature.
Correct. Yep.
I think there's actually even like a pop up feature.
Mhm.
We have not tested those yet. I'm sure we will at some
Mhm.
point. But all of these, I think when we think of tests, we think, oh, great, I'm going to see a 20% lift in conversions. Probably
No.
not. But here's the thing, even if you get a 1% lift in conversions over the course of, well, frankly, depending on your traffic,
Wouldn't
that
be
could be
great.
massive amounts of
Yeah.
money anyway, but also over the course of your business, 1% will add up. And then as you continue testing these elements, and then you can make 1%, maybe you can make that 1.5%, maybe you can make that 2% across the course of these tests, it can add up to a whole lot of money in your business.
Mhm.
Mhm.
And thinking about the checkout page too, where the pricing is. If you
Mhm.
have a particular, for circuit sales system students, when people are in the fast action offer, if you can show that discount that people are getting or automatically apply a coupon in that area, that can make a huge difference too. Reminding people of the additional value they're getting at an even lower price than if they wait or miss a deadline.
That's a great point. And actually, as we get into the studies have shown, but studies have shown that if you show the value as
Hmm.
a big number, and if you're doing a couple of discounts, then show the next discount is slightly lower. It goes against what we would normally do, but show the actual cost as the smallest number. Obviously, cross out the ones above it, but showing the actual cost as the smallest number tends to perform better. I think we automatically think, oh, well, I want to show the value, but I'm going to cross it out and make it little because I want people to focus on the price they're actually going to pay. But the interesting thing is if you make the value that they're not going to pay the biggest number, and you make the price that they are going to pay the littlest number, it helps to emphasize in our minds difference between those two numbers.
Mm,
Interesting, right?
love it.
All this.
Love it.
Can you tell I'm
Yes.
taking a behavioral economics course and doing a lot of reading?
And we love that
Just
for us.
yeah,
Thank you for
here to
sharing
share
your
that with
knowledge. Yes.
everybody.
I love
Yes,
it.
yes.
Don't make us take the course. I love it.
No, it's good. It's good. I'm going to bring my learnings back to the group and to the
Yes.
podcast.
Love it.
Clearly,
Yes.
uh,
The last test. Yeah.
last test is number 5: the length of the sales page. Over the past couple of years, the trend has been to put in absolutely anything everybody would need to know, and there are a lot of persuasive arguments for that. You can scroll down and find what you need to know, but at the same time, it also represents an opportunity to look at your page and go, is this something? Is this a message they really need to hear here? Is this something I need to emphasize? Could I say this a little bit, a little bit more concisely? Is this a section that I could remove completely?
Mhm.
I would uh, recommend to people, encourage people, I guess is the word I was looking for, to try to look at their sales pages with fresh eyes and really think, okay, if I were just coming to this page and I were interested in making this purchase, what are the key things that I would need to know? Okay, definitely this section, definitely this section, definitely this section. For the other sections, we'd recommend taking out those sections one at a time. But it could be that having a shorter sales page helps focus people on just your key messages and encourages them to take action purchasing that much more and that much easier.
Yeah. And quite frankly, I guess depending on your offer, people may have seen varying amounts of messaging. But if you have a really long sales page, maybe sending people directly to that sales page isn't the best method. I mean, this goes into testing plenty of more things. But I think for a lot of people, all the information on your sales page, people should see that information before they get to that sales page. So you should be putting it in all the possible places that people could be interacting with you before they hit that sales page. So if people aren't going direct there, where else, what other messaging are they getting from you? Where else can you put these messages? To us, it might feel repetitive. People need to hear things multiple different ways. And quite frankly, it needs to be in multiple different places because not everyone's seeing it like we are seeing it in all of the places. So make sure whatever your key messages are, they need to know this. Great. Then put that in multiple places in addition to your sales page if it has to be there.
And as you're thinking through the length of your sales page too, think through the cost of what it is you're selling. If you are selling, a $27 downsell, it's a really good chance you don't have to put much on that page to get people to go, oh yeah, that's a good value. I'll buy that. Whereas if you're selling, $2,000-$3,000 offer, you might have to have more information on that page to get someone to understand why they should take action on it. Although to Kate's point, there should have been a lot of messages leading up to that to help them understand that they are the right person for this offer.
Yeah, I feel like at that point for something like that, they've gotten so much, they should have received so much information beforehand that by the time they get to that sales page, especially if they're visiting that sales page multiple times, that's like the Spark Notes version in some ways. What are the key high level points that they've read the novel? Now here's in summary form and reminding them of all that great value in there.
Exactly. It's all the key points in one place, but it shouldn't be prohibitive to go through. It should be easy to scan. First of all, your subheads should make a lot of sense and should give an indication of what's in that section. So if someone gets to scans and gets to a subhead, they should go, oh yeah, this I do want to read more about. And then they can read that section and they can skip the sections that they don't want to read. I guess this is kind of length, kind of into a slightly new test, but the idea of testing to make it readable and digestible as much as possible. So maybe that's a 5B test or 5.2, whatever. But it's anything you can do to make your sales page easier to consume. And that doesn't necessarily mean making it shorter. It might mean making it reorganized. Sometimes it might actually mean even making it longer but just in a different way. Exactly. But these are all tests that you should be running. And I think that when people think, oh yeah, okay, I'm going to run a test. You should be testing regularly. We are constantly running like half a dozen tests at any one moment in our business. I don't think there's ever been a day for the past couple of years when we haven't been running a test on something because, we're talking about sales pages here, but all of these elements, except for maybe the checkout, also carry through to opt-in pages, landing pages, home pages, all of these kinds of things.
Yeah. And we'll link to the previous episodes in the show notes just down below for the other episodes we've done in this series on other A/B tests that you can run.
Exactly.
Even more ideas.
Even more ideas. Okay. So this was not too long of an episode, but boy, do you have a lot of work ahead of you. The good news is that it's fun work. And again, it can represent major, major positive impacts on your bottom line. So with that, we will catch you guys in the next episode. Bye, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. Do you want to learn how to sell and scale your offer on autopilot every single day without the chaos of live launching or the low conversions of Evergreen? Who doesn't, right? Get our free on-demand video training at circuitsalessystem.com/free. And of course, don't forget to subscribe to this channel to make sure you never miss a video. We'll catch you next time.